Hi everyone, for today's video I'm going to do something slightly different. I'm going to show you how I work on a comic panel. First, I will start with the layout of the panel. In this case, since it's the only one, I'm going to start with the frame by doing it in a vector layer. And we will also add a new layer and change the name for the layout. We will change the names of the layers so it is much easier to recognize. Then I choose the mechanical pencil brush to start working on the layout sketch. At first I wasn't sure what to draw on the panel, but I ended up drawing some sort of post-apocalyptic city scene. In this stage I generally work on a 10-year scale size of the page, but for purpose of the video I ended up zooming in. Once the layout is done, I turn the lines to blue by using this button on the right corner. If I'm correct, this is only an option available in Clip Studio Paint. Now I can start working on the clean sketch before the inks. One quick tip that worked for me when drawing loose clothing is just to draw them right at the beginning, instead of going for the anatomy first. That way I can work on the silhouette, and if it works, I can start adding details inside of it. Next up, for the background we will use the perspective ruler tool that is on top of the text tool. I will play around with the ruler to find the right vanishing points for my scene. In this stage, I generally just block everything and I don't add much details, since I'm planning to make them on the ink stage. Now it's time for my favorite part, the inking. Here I will work on two different layers. One is for the final inks and the other is in case I'm not sure of the details I'm adding. But if it looks good, I just transfer the inks to the one below. As you can see, first I will try to work on the general outline of the figure. This is to check general proportions or if there is stuff that I'm missing. Once it is done, I can start working on the details on the transfer layer. And for transferring the inks to the layer below, you have to use this button. When it comes to the background, I prefer to draw it on a different layer, and before working on it, I like to put the figures in blue so I don't confuse the lines of the two layers. For drawing the windows on the buildings, I like to work on it in the opposite way. I start by doing black spots and then I erase parts by following the perspective ruler. Once I got the general form of the windows, I will start adding some extra lines to add more volume. Finally, for the last part, I like to add a multiply layer for the shadows and I add a watercolor border effect to it. Another tip that is something I learned about cinematography is that most of the time it's better to shoot from the shadow area. So I try to apply the same logic to my drawings when I add the shadows. By keeping this in mind, this helped me a lot to bring much more volume, depth and mood to the scenes. And that's it for today's video. I hope this was helpful, and if you like it, please consider subscribing. And thank you for watching.